Hi everybody, it's me, Carrie with MemoryInkers.com. Today I'm going to show you some fun folds with the arrow fold. I know there's been a lot of talk and videos about these fun folds. Here's one that's pretty traditional. It's just a card and it folds open. The difference with this one is, and I know you've seen this situation, which I will put all the directions on my blog, MemoryInkers.com. But this is one where the piece of designer series paper has been added to a longer piece. Oh, sorry, those are my notes. A longer piece of, this happens to be chocolate chip, which is one of our colors that is going away. Anyway, it was cut, instead of 4 1/4, it was cut at 4 3/4 so that I could fold it over and attach the designer series paper to it, which you can't see because it's behind the ribbon. So, and I'm going to go over the folds in a little bit, but the one I'm going to show you today is this one. I call this the tucked arrow fold, and it is done with a piece of designer series paper. Now you do have to use the thick. You can't use, like, this is much thinner paper. This is our thick stuff. It's almost a cardstock. And then it's tucked inside right here. So that's why it's called the tucked arrow fold. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. So let me set these aside and bring in our Simply Scored tool. If you do not have a Simply Scored tool, you should get one because it's really pretty awesome to use. I will have a close-up of this template on my website or my blog again also. This is cut at 4 1/4 by 12-inch piece, and then it's going to be scored at, these are not scores, okay, so you're going to score at 5 1/2, 11, and 11 1/4, and then these are where you're going to make pencil marks. So let me show you how I'm doing that. I am going to make a pencil mark at 1 3/4 and 3 1/2, and then 5 1/4, which actually not 5 1/4. Yeah, it is. It's right there at the score line, so you'll know where that is. Sorry. Now, in order to line it up so that I know where to fold it on the other side, I just take my ruler, because I don't want to pencil mark all the way through and make a score line of any kind. So I just kind of take my ruler and set it there and kind of see where it's at. Make a score line there, and a pencil mark here, and then of course here. So then and I don't think you're going to be able to see this super well on this video. The lighting is really bad. We're having storms. So one of the things I did, and I'm hoping you can see it, is I actually made permanent marker marks in my Score Pal, or Simply Scored, and at 4 1/4 and 5 1/2, because those are traditional scoring spots for a standard card here in America. So I'm going to use one of those as sort of my tool to see where I'm going. Now you want to make sure you have the right side. So I don't know if you can see, but I've got score marks here, 2 score marks here. So this is the one I want, the one with the score marks and nothing down on this end. So I'm going to kind of line that up here, and then I'm going to look for the center, which I forgot to mark. So, oopsie, also mark, because this is a 4 1/4. You also want to mark at 2 1/8. Sorry, it wasn't on my little cheat sheet, so I forgot. So that's how I know it's right in the center. So, find that. There's the score mark. Here's my center. And it takes a little bit of finagling to, because they want to slip around, unless you're like really super good. And then, rather than use your pencil, you're going to use your scoring tool, your little stylus, And I'm going to score right there. Now I'm going to keep this one in place and turn it to the next pencil mark here. I'm hoping this is in camera. Yep, looks like it is. Okay, I'll move it up just a little bit. So here's my next pencil mark, and then go back to that same score line, and I'm going to score again. Then I'm going to leave this one in place, and I'm going to go to the next score line, which is right there, and score down again. Whoops. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing on the reverse side. I'm going to find that center point, and then I'm going to find that first little fold line. I'll make it a little easier. So there. And then I'm going to hold that in place to my next score line little pencil mark, which is right here. Then I'm going to go to the last one, which is right there. Okay, so now I have all of my scores in place, and I'm going to put away my Simply Scored tool. The next thing you want to do is erase your pencil marks. They probably won't be seen, but, well, they might because of the way I'm flipping this one. Now this is the front, this is going to be the front of the card, and normally I would tell you to put your pencil marks on the other side, but I thought it might be a little harder to see. So now what you're going to do, now that I have all of my scores to match this, all right, I am going to start making my folds. And I'm going to fold, I know that these are going to be just fine, so I'm going to go ahead and bone fold these over. Am I doing that right? Yep, I am. Okay. And then I'm going to score. Now, you might be wondering, why do I have two? Well, up here, because you don't necessarily need to, but what I found when I made this card was that it was so, this part becomes so thick that having it have a little bit of a lift helped it to lay prettier. So that's why I did that. You don't have to. It's an optional thing, obviously. But I found that it works pretty good. All right, now for the fun part. The first fold is not too difficult. You can kind of see where it is, but I still recommend that you use your fingers first. The second one, because you've already got a fold here, you might need to play with a little bit. So I'm taking my ruler. If you don't have a metal ruler, you should get one. I just love mine. And I'm going to start, and remember that perfection is overrated. Whoever gets this card should be pretty happy with it. Sorry, I had to bring it up closer to me. Then you get that one started, and you finger fold that also. Okay? And then the same with the other one. You're going to want to take your ruler and have it help you start that fold. And you're going to fold that one back. So you can see I've already started to get the point. Oops, I have a little issue right here, which is why you don't want to crease it at first. So you can see how it's going to tuck inside here once everything is done. So then again, the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. Just finger fold it. And then grab your ruler. And finger fold that. And then your last one. So now you can see kind of how it's going to look. And if you've never done one of these before, I should probably tell you that the longest fold gets folded back, and then the next one gets folded forward, and then Okay, sorry about that. Again, I had a little glitch. So what I was about to tell you was how to fold these back, and obviously I was still going along thinking everything was just fine. So your first one you're going to fold backward. The next one, then when you fold it back, it comes this way. Then your second fold gets folded back. So I'll show you on this side where I have already placed adhesive. I put adhesive on it because this is very thick designer series paper, and I wanted it to lay a little flatter. So I have adhesive on this piece here, and then on the last piece I have adhesive. So as I was saying, you're folding this piece back, and then it comes forward on the second score, and then the last score gets folded back. And then for this one, I am going to score them pretty tightly. It's still, just by nature of the design, it's going to be fluffy, for lack of a better word. Also, you'll notice that when you score these, you can make your score thinner if you want to. These are like a ½ an inch. It can be less. This score is thicker because I wanted it to kind of match this, and I realized they aren't the same. I realized this is smaller than this one. But what's going to happen when I tuck this in is I want it to raise up, and then when it raises, the angles are very similar. I don't know if you can see that or if that makes sense to you, but so that's the base of the card. Now what I did was I cut an inside piece that was 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, found the center, which is 1 5/8, and then I cut it. So you can see basically, oops, it was like that. Okay, and then I stamped on it. All right, and then that I am going to use some snail adhesive. And you kind of have to have this angle because of the fact that, let me get right there at the tip. You want it to hide behind the little arrow that's there. And then I'm just going to line it up with that first score line. And it's not really centered. So if you go really slowly before you've burnished your adhesive, you can usually pull it back up. And perfection is overrated, like I like to say, but now it's hidden. And you still have a little bit of space to write a little comment right there. Then I already stamped. Both of these are from the Detailed with Love stamp set, which is going to be in the new catalog June 1st. So that is going to go just in the center. I chose not to use any dimensionals to pop this up because this card is already kind of fluffy. So many smiles begin with you. That's all of you who are watching this. You guys make me smile. Then I am going to, over this score line, so it's not as noticeable, I am going to add some of this beautiful, I love this. This is our shimmer ribbon. This is in the basic black, and it is carrying over. So I'm going to cut enough so that I can manage it in the back. And I like to use some adhesive on my ribbon. Now, some ribbons don't take to it very well. And then the last piece, I am going to put a little bit of tear and tape, and I want it to be straight, so I cut it. So I'm going to put that right there. And then I'm going to line it up with actually these funny marks in my contact paper. And I'm just going to wrap it around. You guys all know how to do this. And like I said, there's not a lot of adhesive on it, just enough. And then when I get here, I'm going to peel this off because I want the ribbon to stay pretty secure, so it's not as noticeable in the back and won't come apart quite as easily. And then the last touch I'm going to do is I'm going to add, because of these little dots, I'm going to add some fun dots to this as well. Going to sort of kind of line them up. You know, I'm not going to be worried about being perfect here. But what's funny is, if I wanted to, I could almost line them up color by color. But I'm not going to do that because that would be an awful lot of these little pearls. So I'm just kind of doing 3. Whoops. Oh, I love when that happens. Oh, God, this one just really does not want to, it doesn't want to go. Okay, so I just did 3 right there. It would be just as cute with a bunch all the way across. I may consider doing that. But anyway, that is my version of the arrow card, which I now call the arrow tucked card. And you can see both versions here. This one was done with, oh, I forget what it's called, but it's going away. It's the birthday one that's in the birthday suite. Sweet Soiree, that's what it is. And the same stamp set. And this one, I used the Sentiment Happy Birthday on this one. Okay, so I hope you liked these cards. I will have the directions for this style and this style on my blog at MemoryINKers.com. And all of the measurements for both. So I think I said that. All right, I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please press that little button down there and so that you can follow me. Also, I'd love to have you follow me on my MemoryInkers.com blog and also on Facebook, which is facebook.com/MemoryInkers, where I do a weekly Facebook Live where I do a quick little project. Okay, thanks for stopping by.